In my last video, I talked about my BMW engine problem. I had a BMW 5 which consumed as much oil as gas, so I had to act. One option was to buy a new one. So I went to the BMW dealer nearby, but he only wanted to sell me a new car. When I asked him what happens to the old car, he told me, well, you might sell it on eBay. But that would have meant I had to deal with shady people on eBay, which I did not want to. What I needed was a problem solver who says, you enjoy the new car, I take care of everything else. Since engine problems after 150,000 miles are a common problem, I will show you in this video what little effort is necessary to turn the limited lifetime of engines into a new business opportunity. The business model is actually quite simple. The dealer makes photos of the old car and describes the damage and sends the information to the professional car recycling or auto auction platforms, just like insurance companies do for crash damaged cars. The recycler responds with an offer to buy the car, and the dealer sells the car to the highest bidder, using the money as a down payment for the new car. Of course, we need a database for this, and I have the advantage that Power Platform comes with a built-in database, which is Dataverse. This saves us from considering whether to set up an on-premise database, a cloud database, or any technical database at all. Since the database is hosted in the cloud, Microsoft take care of topics like load balancing, data volume, and everything which is technical. And to create tables, I don't even need knowledge in SQL or other things. And the cherry topping is that Dataverse comes with built-in tables for typical use cases. One of these tables, which we also need in this use case, is the customer contact table, which is called contact table in Dataverse, and we see it right here. The contact table is what we look at, and as you can see, you have table descriptions and the schema with columns, relationships to other tables, and private keys. We have data experience with forms, views, charts, dashboards. We will go into this in the future, and also I can do some customizations for the business. Here we see the table already comes with demo data that we can get an understanding what is the content. We have 218 additional columns that we can look at as a default, which we may not need for this use case, but maybe for other use cases. In our use case, we not only have a customer, we also have the car recycling company and also the car transportation company. For this purpose, I create a new column, which I will call contact type. And in this column, I want to store whether the contact is a customer, is a car recycling company, or is a transportation company. For this, I choose the field type choice. And here I can look for choices that are already created, like authentication protocol, approved article, component state, or contact type here, customer or car recycler. This is what I can use. Default notes, and this is it. So I have already my new column. No SQL programming, nothing. What I can do now, without any programming, I can edit the data in the table. And for this, I click on the edit button and I get a table form where I can put in values. Like for contact type, double click on it, and then I see what kind of choice I have. Okay, Falkani, he's a customer. Then I want to add a contact type for Jim Glynn. He is a car recycler, so I can add here my data. Also in this view, I can insert new data set records, delete, edit a row using forms, and so on. So now I want to go back and see if everything is already stored. So I click on back and see, yes, customer, car recycler, everything is stored, everything is fine. Another feature of Dataverse are so-called forms. Forms, as the name already says, is a form where I can put in data for the table. And as you can see, I have a number of forms. I click on contact here and we see a default form that was already created from Dataverse for this table. I can put in here my name and middle name and everything. And these forms can be used in so-called model-driven apps. And what a model-driven app is, we will look in shortly, because this is where most of the application will be programmed. These forms come out of the box and I don't have to do anything with it. So we have the table for contacts now, and we need to look what we need to do else. So the dealer makes pictures of the old car, describes the damage, and sends the information to professional car recyclers like insurance are doing for crash damaged cars. The recycler responds with an offer to buy the car. And the dealer then sells the car to the highest bidder and takes the money as down payment for the new car. So we need to look what kind of table do we need now? What is the next step? So what we need now is a car description table with where we store the data of the car. Here we need a new table. I could create it here in Dataverse, add columns and data, and add a column in a traditional way where I pick the file, but now we have Copilot, so I don't need to do this. What I can do is I go to Copilot and take a predefined text, like create a table for vehicle description, paste it to Copilot, and Copilot creates the table for me. And as you can see, you already have some columns like make, model, year, color, and sample data. So with Copilot, it's even more efficient to create a Dataverse table. Not that I don't only need SQL, but I also can just describe the table. But this is not all I want to have. The table should contain a relationship to the contact table, since every car has an owner. So I paste the text into the Copilot prompt, click enter, and the Copilot adds additional columns to contact ID. Additionally, I want to have a column for the vehicle identification number, license plate number, and manufacturer. So I take the text, copy it, and paste it again into the Copilot prompt, click enter. Copilot created the additional columns for me. If I scroll to the right, I will see them. So they have the VIN, vehicle identification number with sample data. I have a license plate with sample data and a manufacturer. Also everything with sample data. But now I realize manufacturer, I think I have this double, like I already have make. So unfortunately, I did not foresee that Copilot was creating a make already. So I ask, please remove column manufacturer. Paste this also to the Copilot prompt, click enter, and then we have one last column so that we have manufacturer or make only one time. You can also look into the column properties. This is single line of text, which is okay for me, so I say cancel. License plate. Now I want to add a choice column for engine type, like diesel, benzene, hybrid, or electric. Paste it into my Copilot prompt, click enter, and Copilot creates a new column called engine type and already also fills with the demo data. Then I want to have a column with displacement and column with horsepower. So I add this to the Copilot prompt. I want to have add a choice column with number of doors, 2 doors, 3 doors, 4 doors, 5 doors. Paste this in my Copilot prompt, and Copilot is creating the new additional columns. Displacement, horsepower, number of doors. This is it for now. I have all the columns I want to have. So I click on create to create the table. And once Dataverse or more of a Copilot created the table, I see the table properties, I see the schema, I have the sample data, I have data experience, everything I need. Now that we have the vehicle description table, we need to move on. And what we also need is a list of companies that transport the car from the dealer to the car recycler. And for that, we want to create a table, and we do this in the same way. Now I could create a table, say new table, or describe the table in Copilot, but Dataverse is already providing me with a table for companies. It's called account. So I use the account table where I store companies. And we already see here a number of sample companies which got created. And what I'm interested in now is to see if on the 143 columns, there is a column which leads me to contact. And we can see here there's a column primary contact. And this is not a text field, but a link to the contact table. And as you can see here, we see this table now, or this column. If I go to edit, I have more options to edit. And what I want is to change the account name to Car Transport Company number 1 to see whether this is a company. So then I would like to change the contact, and I click on the primary contact field and can search for contacts in the contact table and see here a number of contacts which I can use. So I say Patrick Sands. An example is now my contact for Car Transport Company number 1. The account table, of course, is not only for car transport companies. This is a table for all kinds of companies. So I want to create an additional column which describes the company type. And similar like I did with contacts, I want to have a choice field for the company type. And here I will reuse the contact type choice, contact type, but what is missing is the car transport company. So I would like to edit this choice and add to customer and car recycler also the contact type car transport company, that I can use this for my company type column in the account table. I say save and get my new additional company. The column here is empty because I created them, but I can easily fill it. And this is it for now. Earlier in the video, we created the vehicle description table, and usually Dataverse creates forms, and now we can see these forms. It takes some time until they are created. So we go into the main form and see what Dataverse already created. So we have all the columns we created with Copilot are now in this form, like vehicle identification number, year, model, make, contact ID, and so on. So we say save and publish, that we can use this form, and go back. Now I want to create the next table, which is about performed repairs. And for that I go back in Dataverse and have different options. Maybe I find a table that's already there. I can upload the table with Excel file with the columns, or like before I described them in Copilot. And for that I have a predefined text, create table for vehicle repair data. I take this text and copy it, paste it back into the Copilot prompt, and Copilot now creates a table for me. So the table already has some sample columns like vehicle type, repair date, repair cost, repair description, repair status. That is all very good. And the next thing I want to do is a relationship to the vehicle description table. So I take this text and copy and paste it into the Copilot prompt and have now this relationship column. When I look in detail, I see this is a single line of text. So this is not what I want. I want a relationship and not a single line of text column. So obviously Copilot did get this wrong. So I have to delete the column and create it from manually. But I will do this in a later point in time once the table really is created. For now, I would like to add a choice field that describes what kind of repair has been performed. It's supposed to be a multiple choice that I can mark or multiple entries. I copy and paste the text again and see what Copilot is doing for me. So we have oil change, brake change, engine type. I look at the properties. So here I see, okay, it is multiple choice. It is a choice field, which is good. So then I would like to add a column for repair displacement. Now I would like to add a column for remarks on the repair, like what went wrong, what went well. But I see, there is already a repair descriptions. So I don't need to add this. Copilot was already thinking ahead and created the column for me. But Copilot only created a column with a single line of text, but I want to have multiple line of text that I can type in longer comments on the repair. So I create them again and let's see whether Copilot got right. No, Copilot also created a single line of text. This is not what I want, but I will fix this later. Now I would like to add a column with date for next scheduled maintenance, like oil change has to be performed once a year. So I would like to add a date for the scheduled maintenance, and Copilot is doing this. I see already dates, and then I would like to have a column with the mileage of the car when the repair is performed, and this is not existing, so I create it. See, here is a sample mileage, and if I look into it's always single line of text again, not really what I wanted, but I create the table now anyway, because there's a number of things I have to manually correct once the table has been created. Now the table is available, and we directly take a look at the sample data to see which columns are good and which columns we have to change. The first column we will delete is the column for vehicle relationship. So the column has been deleted now, and we can create a new one. For this we go to the columns, and here we see all the columns that the table has. We click new column, and we can create the new column. This is more effort than with Copilot, but still very easy. No programming or SQL knowledge required. We give the column a name, vehicle, ID, and then we want this to be a lookup. This means that the field looks up in a different table. And here I see all the other tables that are in the Dataverse database, and I can scroll by them, but I also can look by number, V, VV, that doesn't work, okay, but vehicle, then it limits the availability to vehicle description, and this is what I want. So I can see in advanced options, vehicle ID and the relationship, and I say save. Now I have a column that links me to the vehicle. We have all the information of the vehicle itself, like number of doors, displacement, engine type, and so on. Now we look at the remarks on the repair. This was one column where we wanted to have multiple lines of text. And as we can see here, we only have a single line of text. This is not what we want, so we will delete this one. And the same goes for the repair description column. This also has only one line of text, which is not sufficient for the comments we want to make, and we will delete this as well. For this, we select both columns and then click on delete to delete the columns. The columns are now deleted, and I would like to leave it at this, and we need to move on to the next tables that we have to do. So what is next on the list? Price quotes from car recycling shops. This is the next table we need, and for this we go to Dataverse again, tables, and since this is a new table, we try to describe this via Copilot and see how far we get. So create table for vehicle price quotes, paste it into the prompt of Copilot, and let's see what Copilot generates from that. So we have quote ID, vehicle make, vehicle model, price, and year. The columns vehicle make and vehicle model we don't want to have here, because we want to link it to the vehicle description table, and in that table we already have these information. So I type remove columns, vehicle make and vehicle model, and let's see what happens. Perfect. Copilot deleted the columns. So I move on. I would like to add a relationship column to the vehicle description table, as I just mentioned. So we copy and paste the text to the prompt. Last time when we tried to make a relationship column, it did not work. Let's see how it is this time. This time it's even worse. It did not just create a single line of text column, but it recreated the columns make and model, which I deleted already. So I have to delete them again. And I type remove column make and model. So I move on to the next topic. And we have a number of relationships I want to create, but with the latest experience, I think this is not a good idea. But what we want is to add the price quote. We have a price quote ID, but this is not what we want. We want to have a column price quote. So we copy and paste this. Price quote currency. This is not what I wanted. So I will remove this and type in price quote again, and currency I delete. I just say price quote column. Yes, this looks better. Price quote, view column, and we have a type currency. So this is exactly what we want. Now we want to know whether the price quote was accepted or not. So we add this into the prompt and I get a yes/no column. So now I create the table that we can start with manually adding the lookup columns to the vehicle description table, to the contact table, and all the other stuff. If you look here, we see there are 20 additional columns. These are columns from Dataverse for their internal data management, which are not of interest for us at the moment. So we move on to columns where we want to create the additional lookup columns. We say new column, vehicle for auction. So we name this as a lookup and link the vehicle table. You can look into the details. Vehicle for auction is the relationship name and save it. Then we'll create an additional column which links to the car repair shop. And we make it a lookup to the account table because we want to link to the company, to the car repair shop company. Then we need another column for the vehicle owner that we can inform the vehicle owner in case we have a bid and want to have someone who buys the car. This links to the contact table. And this is it for now. We have all the columns we need. 25 minutes. We created the required tables to build the solution. In the old days, before cloud computing and Power Platform, we had to set up a physical server, install the database server, install the database with all its administrative overhead, had to create the database tables and demo data with SQL programming, which is all very time consuming and costly. With the Power Platform, we did all this in 25 minutes. It is truly remarkable how easy and quick you can do these tasks with the Power Platform. At this point, I would like to end the video. In the next video, we will create the SharePoint list for storing photos of the car that document the status, and we will continue to build the solution with the apps and everything that we need. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and I see you in the next video. Bye bye.